59 people, 60 people now have come into the room to see this presentation on Morgellons and Lyme, the protocol with Spooky2, with the Spooky2 software and technology. And I hope that what I say today will be useful to you. Today, I've chosen not to be covering the Morgellons and Lyme graded utility, because I think that requires a certain extra level of knowledge. I think that there will be a broad spectrum of people with different skill levels here. And for people who are new, I don't want to confuse them too much. I'm going to keep it just to the straightforward classical Morgellons and Lyme protocol. I will not be covering the setup of technology today, because we've gone into that a lot in other videos. There's plenty of resources out there already. Some of that I covered in my biofeedback webinar, which will also be out there somewhere in the groups, and I'm sure you can search for it. What I might as well do is get on with talking about Morgellons and Lyme itself. Okay, here we go. So this is the presentation that we've got today about the Morgellons and Lyme protocol using Spooky2. Let's start, for those who don't yet know, what Spooky2 is and what Spooky2 is all about. It is a Rife therapy system. So it's there to enable you as a user to deliver frequencies to the body for a wide variety of therapeutic purposes using a wide range of delivery methods. Okay? It's a powerful system. It's a variable system. It requires some learning on the way, because you can't just get it straight out of the box and hey presto, you are the ultimate being of health and life and amazingness. You have to learn it. You have to learn how it's working with your body, and you've got to carry on participating with other people using the technology in order to get your head around it and to progress to the next level of growth with it. But it is powerful. I use it a lot myself. I'm presenting today on Morgellons and Lyme protocol because I use it myself. Okay, I use it a few times in different ways. So initially, we're going to talk about what is the Morgellons and Lyme, or M&L protocol. What the stages of the protocol are, and essentially why they are there. How to go through the process of editing the presets. Because when you hear the phrase editing presets, it sounds like, oh my word, that's a bit too complicated for me. All right, it just sounds like it. But the fact of the matter is, it probably isn't anywhere near more complicated than something you would do on Microsoft Word or Excel anyway. It's just a question of knowing how the layout of the software works and how to put things together. Okay? Adding your biofeedback, why I feel that Generator X is a really important tool to be using. But if you haven't got that, don't worry. We'll also be talking about contacts 2 and 4, the remote method A and B, as well as plasma and the scalar methods. So if you've only got XM generators, you're not marginalized. Okay, you're not being sent to the sidelines, because this is about you as much as it's about someone who's got 32 generator X's somewhere in their garage. Okay. So the weird thing about the Morgellons and Lyme protocol is that its name suggests that it's only there for Morgellons and Lyme. That's not the case whatsoever. All right, it is there for Morgellons disease. It is there for Lyme disease, without the shadow of a doubt. But it's also something that's beneficial for people who've got a wide variety of other different conditions, such as Candida, with all of the various different co-infections that go along with it, or indeed loads of other conditions. Okay, it's a healing tool. It's there to help you to improve the well-being of your body. And also, if you research things like the Halder-Clark method or raw veganism, they always talk about parasite cleansing. And there's a large chunk of the Morgellons and Lyme protocol, which is essentially a parasite cleanse. Are you with me so far? Okay. So you can use it for its intended purpose, but you can also use it for nearly anyone to improve your well-being as part of a way of life, as part of a structured wellness program for yourself. I have used it before. I've done it by the pure remote methods. I've done it using plasma, and I've done it using contact method as well. And I found it a very, very interesting experience, because like my body is actually quite toxic. So, you know, the things which happen to me prove to me it's doing what it says on the tin, and that's why it's such an important protocol to understand and to do, because it does actually do what it says on the tin. Okay, so let's look at the stages of Morgellons and Lyme protocol. You basically got three. The first one is a terrain. Now, terrain means the terrain of your body, the landscape of your body. And that's a very basic detox protocol to prepare your body for everything else. It's similar to the main terrain protocol, which is in other places within the Spooky2 software. So if you've already done that, you might want to ignore the terrain section of the Morgellons and Lyme protocol if you want to get into that. Okay? If you haven't done that for a while, start off with terrain over again. So you got terrain. Then you got organisms, which is the parasite cleanse section of the Morgellons and Lyme protocol. And then there's Biotech, which is much more specific to Morgellons and Lyme type treatments. So for a lot of people, the terrain and the organism phase could be the most important thing for you personally, because that's a variety of parasite cleanse, reducing the things inside your body which could be damaging and detrimental, to provide you with the ability to progress in health through reduction of biological toxicity. Okay? Terrain lasts a few days, just a little over a week. Sets the stage for healing, sets the stage for the killing of further pathogens, and cleans the organs of elimination. So after terrain, you will then get busy with tackling pathogens. The organism phase is done in a certain order because it tackles the smallest things, moving on to the largest things. And this is called the golden rule of Rife. It's especially important, I understand, if you are very physically toxic. Okay, we got participants raising their hand. Let's see what's happening there. Okay, so we got Yolanda and Frank who raised their hands. So I presume you want to ask something. Can I ask you to pop that in the chat, please? We've got a few things in the Q&A. Okay, there is one question here which says, what can Lyme patients who are too sick to do the killing or detox do? It's really a challenging issue. I think we need another protocol created for these very sick people. That's a very good question. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a medical practitioner, and I'm not a great healer. And I think it's very difficult to work out what's right. But if you want something milder that can still do some killing, then maybe try something like hold the clock zapping. Maybe. Just by way of a suggestion. I cannot give you a full, complete medical answer because I'm not a qualified medical practitioner. I don't diagnose, I don't treat. All right? It could be hypothetically possible that you could carry on working on detox until your system is clean enough to be able to handle just that little bit of killing on the way, bit by bit, and see how it goes. That would be my interpretation. But in many ways, I can't answer you, and it would be unethical as someone like me who's just someone who's using this technology to tell you a medical interpretation, for which I apologize. Okay? Right. So the sections within the organism section include viruses, biofilm, co-infections, bacteria, fungus, and mold, and simple and complex parasites. It's in that order. Personal experience dictates that these frequency sets do attack the pathogens in question. After that, there's a short period of body healing, and then there's the Morgellons biotech and infrastructure which comes. There's also some extra frequency sets included for Herxheimer reactions. So that's when you feel worse before you get better, or you've killed something off inside you, which has basically released a lot of poisons from its body into your bloodstream and is therefore making you toxic and making you infected. Okay, and also ropeworms are very difficult to get rid of, so there's an extra special set for that, of which you need to be aware, because you won't necessarily get rid of them on the 47th preset. So this is where it gets interesting. How long does it take? It's very much dependent upon the equipment that you've got and the method that you're using. It could take an awful long time, or it could take less. I implore you not to let the duration of the entire protocol put you off. Every single method that's out there for cleaning, detox, killing off infection, it requires time, okay? And also, it's essential that you carry on working at controlling pathogens inside your body, which is, after all, one of the main benefits of using Spooky2. And I've had great experiences with killing off yeast and mold and funguses aside me. However, the better the equipment you have and the higher up, quality stuff you've got, the better you'll be able to achieve your results, and you'll be able to do it faster. It's just like the way it is. You will need more than one frequency generator. So for an extra $30, you just get yourself a 10-port USB hub, and that will now enable you to run lots of generators off the same Windows laptop. Okay? Right, the methods of delivery of Spooky2 include plasma, scalar, contact, and remote. These four methods will have their own different properties. I personally have got more benefits with plasma and contact than I did with remote, but I did get some very serious positive things happening with an entirely remote protocol going through the organism phase. All right. Scalar, I interpret as, for me personally, as being something very good for tissue healing, but it doesn't necessarily have the same pathogen killing power. It does seem to do something. I did get some strong pathogen die-off using it. So you have to work out what's working for you and what equipment you need. You seem to have another question. I believe that someone else raising their hand. Difficult to say. Okay. So taking into account the number of different forms of equipment, what are your protocols? The most basic and cheapest ones is the remote only, with either 2 generators or 4 generators. The cheapest of all methods, financially speaking, is contact plus 2, which is when you got doing contact and you're using 2 generators. Okay. Then you got contact plus 4 when you got 4 generators, which is 1 being used for contact and 3 being used on remote. And then, of course, you've got the scalar and the plasma methods too. What I'm going to show you is the timetable of how to run the presets themselves. There is a PDF in the software which explains which particular parts of the protocol you should be doing at various different times. You must read it, okay? It will explain to you in quite clear terms how many days or how many hours to run each particular preset, which particular generators to run, and therefore how to actually do it. Okay, we've got Yolanda, you've got to raise your hand again. Can you please enter something in the chat if you need to communicate? Okay, now what I will point out is on the left-hand side of the timetable when I show it to you, there will be a number. And that means the 2 days or nights that you have to run those particular presets for. The letter P will stand for plasma. The letter R will refer to remote. The letter S will refer to scalar, and the letter C will refer to contact. Okay, so in this particular sample, which is the terrain part of the protocol, you will see that on the far left-hand column, it tells you the number of days or nights to be running the protocol. Then we got the next column, which says contact and remote, because you're running it by contact, and then you're also running it by remote during the day when you're not attached to the generator by contact. Generator 2 says remote or coil overnight if desired. You'll probably want to run that purely by remote for the full 48-hour period. Generator 3, remote. Generator 4, again, remote. The words we've got here on the left-hand side there, CO1, it just means that's preset 1 of the contact part of the Morgellons Lyme protocol. RO1 means that's the preset 1 from the remote part of the Morgellons Lyme protocol. Does that make sense? I'm getting lots of people raising their hands. I don't think I'm getting much in chat. What I'll do is I'll finish the PowerPoint, and then we'll go into more sociable communication and start talking. Now we're going to talk about editing the presets themselves. This is relatively easy. Okay. I've opened up the chat. When you say it lasts a week, then you're talking about terrain. Do you wait a week before doing the organism phase? You finish terrain first, then you do the organism phase. What is scalar? Scalar is a form of hardware which produces scalar waves, which is useful as a means of delivering frequency, and I'll be addressing that later. Is scalar as rife, as strong as contact or plasma for killing? It has its own different functionality. I believe it is a good killer, but I also believe that scalar is more a tissue healer, but I'm looking for more evidence and experience to be able to make up my mind properly. Okay. We got someone here who says they just got their Spooky2 yesterday and isn't understanding anything. Okay, there's a website I want to direct you to. It is spooky2videos.com. Go to it and turn that into your evening television viewing, okay? Okay, the next question. How do you set the time for each part of the protocol? Well, you got a clock. You got an alarm. And on top of that, when time is measured in days, you know how long a day and a night is, so you don't need to worry too much. Further on, I'll be talking about a part of the protocol which deals more in terms of minutes, and then that will require some more precision and understanding of various different settings in the software. But you don't have to worry about that if you're measuring time in terms of days or nights. I mean, if I'm doing plasma tonight, that's one night for 1 night's worth of plasma. If I do plasma the second night, then I've done 2 nights worth of plasma. Okay? And then during the day, I would do the remote equivalent of the same sets that I was doing on plasma. Does that make sense? Okay. When using contact at night, is remote on or off? If you're doing contact, you've got one generator on contact, you've got another generator on remote. Okay, we have the timetable shows you you've got different generators doing different things. And you can just stop it when you need to. You press the pause button in the software. This is something people struggle with when it comes to lunchtime, bathroom time, whatever. Okay? You press the pause button in the software. You remove your TENS pads from your skin. You put them back onto the sticky back plastic. Then you do things. You know, you do what you have to do. You have your lunch, you're washing up, you go to the bathroom. Then you come back, you put the pads back on, and you carry on with the contacts that you're running. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Right. So now I'm going to talk briefly about editing presets. As I say, this presentation is recorded. So it will go out there live for you to watch. Don't worry about it, okay? Now, editing presets, which involves adding a scan result to a chain. Now, I know that when we get involved in Spooky, we hear people talking about chains and sets and all kinds of things, and it seems like it's a foreign language, okay? It's not that complicated, okay? When you're doing Spooky, when you're doing Spooky, you will be doing biofeedback, okay? This is something I mentioned in the previous webinar, how to do biofeedback. It'll be out there in the group somehow, okay? You need to search for it, you need to find it. And then that'll teach you how to get the biofeedback. Then you need to find a way of adding that to all the other things which is in the presets for your Morgellons and Lyme using. So this is what we're talking about now. This is a subject in its own right. Oh, one thing I'll quickly point out. There will be a discount code to all of you attendees here, okay? So at the end of the presentation, I'll be collecting your email addresses myself, emailing them back through to Spooky2 so they can then email you a discount code if you want to buy any equipment. So if you're thinking like, I need Scalar, but like Scalar's too out of your price range, don't worry. Okay, we'll cut it down by a couple of % here and there, all right? So how to add your scan results to a preset. Now, let's say I progress. I've gone through it. I'm on one particular chain. Let's say it's number 32 of contacts, just by way of example. So now we're going to look at how I would do something with this. Go from the presets of Morgellons and Lyme to Morgellons and Lyme 3. That's how you get to all of the sets chains within the Morgellons and Lyme protocol. You click on contacts, and you then get this list, which you can now see on your screen. I don't know if you can see my ugly faces in the way, so I'll move that up there. Okay. It's in the list of presets of Morgellons and Lyme. Just click on it, and it will appear in the program list in the middle of the screen, which you can see to the right there. Okay. When it's appeared in the Programs tab, you go down to the bottom where I've drawn that red arrow, and it says Scan Results. If you double click on it, it goes away. Okay, you can double click on it and it goes away because you don't want that little set which says your scan results, brackets, cust, brackets there. What you want is another frequency set which you've made yourself. Okay, are you with me? Then in your program's text box, as you can see on the left of your screen now, at the top of the Programs tab, you can type in BFB because you'll have saved your biofeedback with the letters BFB at the front. And that will give you your saved biofeedback scans. You've got an example from my work computer, okay, that you're seeing in front of you there. It's not the main computer, I use my Spooky usage. And you got some samples of my previous grade scans. You can double click on the one that you want, and it will then appear somewhere in the chain on the right-hand side, which is within your programs box. It will appear there. All you have to do is double click on it. And then it's just a question of using the blue arrows which you find to the right of your programs box, to move it up and down. So you just highlight it until it's blue, and then use the blue arrows, and that will change its position in the chain. Okay? Then you're all set to be able to run that particular session. Right. Got some other comments in the chat. If biofeedback is working well for someone, and do they necessarily need the terrain protocol? Again, I'm not a doctor. My feeling is that your biofeedback will pick up things in your biofeedback and there'll be things missing from it. My feeling is also that terrain without biofeedback will pick up some things which can only be picked up by your biofeedback. So it's best to have a bit of both going into the way in which you're living when you're attempting to use the Morgellons Lyme protocol. I think it's useful to have a bit of both. I think it is. As I say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical practitioner. I cannot tell you how clean or how toxic your body is. It's a suggestion. I mean, sometimes we've got to like work this out for ourselves as to whether we prefer to do it one way or another. The first time I did Morgellons and Lyme, I didn't use any biofeedback at all. Why? Because the first thing I did with my Spooky was to attempt a pulse scan, and I got unbelievable Herxheimer reaction, and within 2 days there was like tapeworms coming out of me, and it was like, you know, I had a bad time. Okay, I had a bad time. So the first time I did Morgellons and Lyme, it was with no biofeedback at all, because I wanted to improve the quality of my body first prior to even starting to do scanning. So you have to work out what your body is telling you. Okay, it's not up to me to say, this is a prescription and I'm prescribing it to you. Okay, that would be wrong. You do have to intuitively work out what it is your body requires and how to use these tools for yourself. Does biofeedback find Morgellons and Lyme and address it without the terrain and Lyme's protocol? You're choosing to do Morgellons and Lyme for a reason, and that's that there's things inside you which you don't want to be there and which haven't been picked up by anything else, and you're trying to go in with a more searching, thorough method over a long period of time. I don't necessarily think that, I mean, maybe there is a biofeedback protocol which will completely clean your body in 3 months. I don't know. Or indeed, you can experiment and you can try and create one for us. But I haven't yet seen it. I'll do a few other quick questions which seem to be appearing here prior to anything else. Okay. Do you do biofeedback before running a program? Well, what you do with your biofeedback is you get it. Well, what I would do is, okay, let's say you've got 2 nights or 4 nights of one particular set of frequencies. Okay? Why not do a biofeedback before you start those 2 or 4 nights worth of it? And then you can use that for that time and then do another one. You take your biofeedback, you add it to the chain so it becomes another frequency set along with the rest of the stuff in your Morgellons and Lyme protocol to attack damage in your body. Does that make sense? Do you use remote at night with contact or only use contact on one generator? You use contact on one generator as well as having another generator running the remote protocol. Okay, you have a look at the timetable in the PDF and it tells you which generator is doing what at the same time as which other ones. Okay, I'll be showing you more imagery about that shortly. Okay, so hold your horses, take it nice and easy. We'll go into that soon. How important is it to use biofeedback? It depends upon your body. I want to put the whole family on it to improve their health. They don't have Lyme. It is such a lengthy program that it'll take years to do everyone individually. Okay, if you're worried about it taking a long time, just go through the organisms phase. Do terrain, then the organism phase in a manner that suits you. Can you put a tick in the sample digitizer? I haven't tried. Because I haven't tried. I haven't tried scanning ticks. I'm sorry, it's just not what I've done. We'll go back to just quickly, bear with me. a second. More things in chat quickly. Okay, there's one question about different types of biofeedback. We'll cover that shortly. And different types of biofeedback will do different things. Remember, sample digitizer only digitizes the sample, not the body they come from. Okay. With GenX scans, okay, right. When you're doing a Generator X scan and you want to do the closest thing to the whole body that you can using the Generator X method, you have your TENS pads either side of the abdomen, all right, to try and get as much of the whole body as you can, because that's like the middle of the body where all of the squirmy is, all right? So you're trying to get like the best picture you can using the Generator X method of what all the squirmy stuff is. Now, if you're just treating, let's say, an abscess on your leg, yes, of course, you have it like either side the problem area. But if you're trying to get a whole body picture with Generator X, you put the TENS pads either side of your waist. Okay? How do you clean up the BFB list in programs? I haven't tried. I just collect rubbish. I'm a hoarder. You can go into your C drive and you delete it that way. Okay. Is it possible to run biofeedback on beneficial healing frequencies to work out the best one for your body? Possibly, but today let's carry on talking about Morgellons and Lyme. Okay. Right. Types of biofeedback to add. Right. We've got Spooky Pulse. We got Generator X, we've got Sample Digitizer, and we got Scalar Digitizer. And these work in different ways. As I said before, right, the Sample Digitizer will only digitize the sample. So if alongside all the various pathogens inside your body, you're really concerned about, like, let's say you got a pustule you're dealing with, and you got a sample of the pus, and you want to get the frequencies for the bacteria in it, then you're going to run the sample digitizer. Okay? Because you're trying to attack that thing. And then the frequencies, or whatever's in that thing, you then have added to the chain of all the other frequencies that you're running for your Morgellons and Lyme protocol. That's if you're using sample digitizer. Scalar digitizer is great fun. It can be used for the whole body, and it can seem rather convenient because you're just sitting beside the two lids of the boxes. All right, and it also, I think, will provide some kind of extra beneficial frequencies for your whole energy system. That's the way it seems to me. All right. Generator X, again, for a targeted area, or you can do a more or less whole body scan through placing your TENS pads either side of your abdomen. The Spooky Pulse method, whereby you have one TENS pad on the back of your right wrist and one on the outside of your left ankle, as well as having the pulse unit clip over your finger or over, or on your ear, that will be a whole body overview. So you got to know, or you got to work out for yourself whether you're tackling a whole body problem or whether you're tackling a specific area problem, or whether, or indeed if you think you're tackling an energetic part of your system problem, which Scalar will do as well as doing the whole body. Does that make sense? So here's a bit of basic information, which again, you will find in that PDF. It's a really good PDF. Must read it. You can select Spooky Pulse, Generator X, Scalar Digitizer, and Sample Digitizer. This is the kind of screen you might want to screenshot. Okay? Take a screenshot if you wish. And whilst I've taken a short pause for a swig of coffee, I've got 2 more questions. Yeah, I think the Spooky Scalar does a different form of scanning. I believe it does the whole body. I also believe it seems to address energetic things in your energetic system as well. But if you're talking about a physical thing inside you, like a worm or a mold or a fungus, a virus or yeast or something like that, then I would go more for a contact method, such as the generator X contact method, or I would go for the pulse contact method. Okay? We understood the sample digitizer was doing BFV of the whole body scan, as in remote radionics. No. The sample digitizer digitizes the sample. That's kind of like maybe where it got its name from. Okay? So if you've got, let's say, an infected something or other, and you've got some fluid from it, then that will contain the pathogen or some part of a pathogen associated with the condition that you've got. So you want the frequencies of that pathogen so you can kill it. Right? It's not a radionics device. It is a frequency device for frequency work and frequency healing. I suppose you could get an overview of the pathogens inside a tick. You could probably kill it and crush it up and do all kinds of icky things to it and shove it on the slides and then see what happens. But would that necessarily be 100% relevant for your condition? Or would that tick be carrying a pathogen which is related to your condition? There's too many questions there, as far as I can tell. But I could easily be wrong. It's just I haven't tried like squishing up insects and shoving them in my sample digitizer yet. It's not one of my hobbies. It may be one day I just have too much coffee and get hyperactive and think I'm going to crush insects. I don't know. Next question. Is it safe to say it's best to learn all forms of biofeedback and to use what's best for each situation? Yeah. I mean, you've got to work out how all this technology is affecting your body and your condition anyway. And that happens through experience. All right? You know, you've got like proverbial bag of tools. And someone could come up to you and say, no, this is the one and only one you need to do the job. When in fact, it might be one which is similar to it, but with sort of like a lump on the end and a round bit on the front. Right? You got to find the tool which is best for the problem. For me, I've worked out contact and plasma is best, and I'm mainly associated with killing. As far as biofeedback is concerned, generator X is the one which seems to do the best quantum precision and accuracy and speed of scanning which I require. Scalar digitizer is picking up probably other stuff which isn't necessarily 100% relevant to my conditions which I'm trying to focus on. And sometimes using reverse lookup can give you some kind of perspective about that. So I hope that answers that part of that question. Okay, now let's crack on for the moment, and we'll go back to a few more questions shortly, if that's okay. Okay, as I was saying, the sample digitizer digitizes the sample. Okay. The whole system scan can be run on one generator's chain alongside the sample digitizer scan on another generator's chain to make sure you get the best of both worlds. Because what you're doing is you're running multiple generators in your software, okay? Multiple generators. So you could have a different biofeedback on each generator that you're running some killing programs on. So if you are a person who's a scalar digitizer type guy, then great. You know, you can get your frequency set from that and put that into one of your either remote or contact, generators and set that through. As contact is a little bit more direct and powerful, so then like the scan which seems to address the more serious issue should be going on the contact one or the plasma one, okay? And other things that you just want addressed but aren't necessarily 100% top importance, you can put them on your remote generators. See where I'm coming from here? But you do the same chain editing that we're talking about, the preset editing that I mentioned earlier on, in order to take your biofeedback and put it in the right place where there's the placeholder which says your scan results here, brackets, custom brackets. Okay. Does that make sense? Always remember to add your scan results. This is a very important part of the therapy because it is your scan which will pick up other things which need addressing. This is the location of the PDF, which all of you must read. Now, I know it's written in a very heavy style. There's lots of lots of words there, but you don't read it all in one sitting. You read one paragraph, you go away, have a cup of tea, drink your tea, come back, read the same paragraph again, work out what it's trying to say, and carry on building up your knowledge. And the more you go through it, bit by bit, the more you'll come to understand what it's talking about and how it's talking about it. Okay, I get brain fog too, so I understand where you're coming from if you're struggling to understand it. But that is where the timetable is for the Morgellons and Lyme protocol. Okay, try and see the timetables for the protocols we'll be discussing today as being like a recipe for a cake. You got to go through them, right? And all of the presets, that's like the ingredients, so to speak. But you go back to the recipe to work out what you should be doing and when. Now, what if you can't spend ages connected to the frequency generator or the plasma tube? That's okay. There is a remote-only method. You can use it. I have used it. I got more benefit from contact and plasma, so therefore that's where I'd normally go. Why do I recommend Generator X? It's got the same frequency range that Mr. Rife himself used, up to 40 megahertz. It has pretty fast scans, and if you get your settings right, it can be even faster. And you get more options with your scanning too. And like grade scans are just amazingly fast, so I like what that's about. And yeah, you can do things like watch TV, read a book. I frequently read something interesting when I'm taking my scans, before bed, when using the Generator X. So if you haven't got one, put that on your Christmas list. Start putting a few pennies aside, whatever. It's pretty important. Yes, I will be doing the promo code thing at the end. So at the end of today, you can then add your email address to the chat, and I will try and get everyone's email address together. And that will hopefully save you a couple of quid too. We got the chats coming in now. No, I don't underestimate Spooky Pulse. I mean, the whole process of doing the Spooky Pulse scan itself, as I said, it's a whopping great sweep, really, isn't it? And it covers a hell of a lot. And it did kick out things from my body just doing the scan. The Spooky Pulse scan is a pathogen killing tool in its own right. Okay, any benefit running the Morgellons and Lyme using forward generators, remote contact, plasma, etc., all at the same time to be really aggressive? I can understand your desire to be really aggressive, but the aggressive way is plasma, as well as remotes. Okay, you could, I suppose, in theory, run contact sessions at the same as plasma, but I'm not too sure how the two would interfere with each other, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. So I would recommend plasma via Spooky Central, which uses the signal from your plasma frequency set and gives you your plasma, as well as the ultrasonic, which you have under up your armpit, as well as contact. You can have the coil attached to it as well, and basically just like zzz, it just Spooky Central. If you're using all the peripherals with it, that is like a zzz, straight in there. All right, I have Central. I don't always use all the peripherals with it, but when I do, I can feel the disease reacting to it. So Central is good. You can just buy Spooky Plasma if you want, but I would actually go for Central if you want to be really aggressive. Okay. So this is one type of kit. Again, it's using the fabulous Spooky Central and 3 XM generators, and either the Phanetron bulb, which is the round one, which is great for targeted work, or the straight tube, which is great for scattered pathogens inside your body. Now we're going to get on to the technical, important, complex stuff which will make you think, I really wish Nick could explain that easier. So no pressure on me at all today then. We're going to talk about the 3 generator kit. 1 generator being used for plasma, Spooky Central, and 2 generators being used for remotes. Starts off with the 8-night terrain protocol. I don't know whether you guys can see where my mouse pointer is. You can see that on the left-hand side it says days and nights. The second column is labeled Spooky Central, near field stroke far field. Now that's when you have the plasma tube really, really, really near to your body, or you have it a bit further away. Near field is like within 6 inches or 6 centimeters of that, no, must be 6 inches of the tube itself. And that's where most of the killing happens. So it depends upon how desperate you are to kill things off, or whether you think you can do it in a more gentle way. I mean, at the moment I'm doing plasma with my tube about 2 foot away from my body at night. That's still quite effective for my candida, but it would kill much more if the tube was like laying right beside me. Okay. All right, we got some more chats coming in, so let's see what's happening here. Okay, Kathleen, I'll be collecting the email addresses all in one go at the end of the presentation. Please try and stay, caffeined up so that I can collect them all in one go, because I won't want to like needle in a haystack my way through the chat. All right. Got someone saying I have a generator X and XM. Tried the same frequency in contact mode with XM and with generator 1 on my generator X. First, the contact pads were tickling my stomachs and skin, but I was using generator X. And though tickling using XM, I interpreted it as a difference of power. Gen X is more powerful. Is this true? It might be, it might not be. All right, when I'm feeling tingling, that's not necessarily because I've got more power going through, but it could be because the thing which is tingling is not me, it is the pathogen. And it just happens that like the current was going straight through a pathogen at the time. It could be due to a wide number of different reasons. But I know that my pathogens react physically to the currents going through them. And so I can feel like a tingling or a shaking, and what's going on there could be a wide variety of different causes. If you have pulse, sample, and scalar BFB, I would put one of those on each one of your generators. So if you're looking at the current chart in front of you, you've got on the left-hand side, you've got the plasmas, the generator you'll be using for plasma. Then it says generator 1, that's a remote generator. Okay? You got generator 2, which is a remote generator. So you got 3 generators going. And you'll be running them all simultaneously in your software. So you can put one biofeedback in each one of those 3 generators. Okay, does that make sense? No, look at the chart on your screen. Okay, on the left-hand side, it says P01, that's plasma preset 1. The middle one says R01, that's remote 01, the first preset of remote. Okay, so that's how we select what's there. When I've got my Spooky2 software loaded up, I'll show it to you later on if you've still got questions about this. But on the left-hand side, it says plasma. The left-hand generator on your screen is plasma. Spooky Central, near field, far field, day or night as desired. Then you got the remotes on the right-hand side of your screen. Okay? Yeah, they're essentially doing the same task, but they're using two different delivery methods. You've got plasma, you've got remote. Okay, awesome. So that's what the terrain looks like for this particular part of the protocol. And the left-hand side, it tells you that's 2 nights for each row of the protocol. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Now, as I say, if you're just attempting to try and get your body cleaner and you're not actually fighting Morgellons and Lyme, you're just like trying to get well and trying to remove some of the gunk between in your body, you can stop at preset number 51, which on this 3 generator method will be 102 nights. And then if you want to, go straight back to the beginning of it again. But if you are struggling with proper Morgellons and Lyme, complete the course, complete the protocol, go right through it. 102 nights might sound like a lot, but it isn't. I mean, I've done herbal parasite cleanses that lasted 3 or 4 months. Okay. So now we're going to have a look at what the organism section looks like. You will notice on the right-hand side, there is a blank column. In reality, this is not an unused generator. This will be running detox maintenance, open brackets or closed brackets. Okay, detox maintenance on your 3rd generator. So on the left-hand side, we've got your plasma generator. In the middle, we've got your remote generator. And then you'll have the 3rd generator running detox maintenance on remote. And that'll carry on encouraging the body to get rid of all the yuck, okay, which just happens when you're killing things. You can see the number of days. It's basically 2 days or 2 nights for each and every single preset on this plasma protocol. Okay. Okay, Jared, we'll hopefully catch you soon, and hopefully I'll be able to get your email together for the promotion. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. Okay, Tatiana, how can I help you? Okay, you're using 3 generators altogether. One is running plasma. One is a remote generator running the remote preset, and one is running detox maintenance. But on the screen right now, all you've got, I'll show you that shortly, okay? Yeah, detox maintenance. I will show you that shortly. Okay, but at the moment, we're still talking about this particular, we're looking at the 3 generator protocol system with one running plasma, one of them running the remote equivalent of the same thing, okay, and the other one running a detox program, and the one you find in the terrain protocol would be good enough, probably. Then this is the second half of the organism section. As you can see, we've moved away from things, the smaller things. We're now covering the parasites. For those of you who are concerned about ropeworms, they won't be covered until you're on the 47th preset, way down at the bottom of this particular screen. But once you've done the second half of the organism section, and you've got down to 48, number 48, pat yourself on the back that you've done a parasite cleanse. And you will have reduced a great quantity of gunk inside you, and the things which you see in the toilet bowl will probably prove to you that you've actually gone through this. It's actually been quite effective on your body. At least that's what my experience suggests. So how long is the first half on plasma and central? 104 days, which is about 14 weeks and 6 days, or 3 months and 13 days. So the 3-generator system is roughly the same duration as a regular herbal parasite cleanse. Okay, but you're not putting any herbs inside your body, which is going to damage your liver and kidneys and so on and so forth. So the only damage done to your body will be through the die-off of the organisms. Okay. And what I found is the cost of the equipment. Considering that once you've got it, you've got it. It's still a lot cheaper than going through lots of other alternative health protocols out there. Got more stuff coming out in the chat. What do you need to run plasma? You need a generator. Can I successfully run this with just Gen X without any additional generators, or should I purchase additional generators? You can do Morgellons Lyme with just 2 generators. Okay, it's lengthier. Okay, I have Spooky2 Central and Generator X. Is that enough? If you just got yourself one more XM generator remote kit, that would make life a lot easier for you. A lot easier. Okay. Later, can I explain what to purchase in detail? We're going through that bit by bit, okay? I know there's lots of information here and everyone wants to know everything straight away, but chill out. We're going to get there one step at a time. All right? We're only talking about the first protocol here. We've got the rest of them to discuss. I can't tell you what to take with your spooky, okay, with your spooky treatments. I'm not doing that because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical practitioner. That's not my job. Okay, you've got to accept that. All right, then we got the biotech phase of the protocol. As I say, there's all maintenance R, which is the detox frequency set, which is what you run on your other generator. Okay, at the same time as going through your protocol. But it's done in pretty much the same way. If you look at number 67, P67, Morgellons infrastructure, and then there's the R67, Morgellons infrastructure. Okay? How difficult is that to understand? You run your plasma, you run your remote, and you also have all maintenance R running in the background. And these are the sets which I'm showing you now on screen. And in the instructions, it just says extras to use as and when required. Okay, still running maintenance on remote on the second generator. Now, this is just like for your contemplation and understanding. What you notice about some of the frequency chains is that they're about 4 hours in duration. Because when you're running it on remote, you're running it on a continual loop. And for a 4-hour chain run on a continual loop is the optimum and maximum to be run on remote. But also when you're running it on plasma or contact, twice 4 hours is 8 hours. So that's the quantity of time you spend in bed. So it's a convenient quantity of time for a chain to be. So it's all really worked out for you in that respect, okay? And this is what I was just explaining to you. Run twice overnight, because like when you're running, if you're just doing if you're just treating yourself with biofeedback, you take your biofeedback, okay? Then you run it once in the morning, run it once in the afternoon. That's the best way of doing it, because you're running it twice in a 24-hour period. If you're taking a 4-hour set and you're repeating it, then you're basically doing the same thing, but you're doing it overnight. You're taking that one frequency chain and then repeating the whole thing twice in a 24-hour period, okay? Overnight when you're in bed resting. In secret, so no one knows that you're a crazy person who uses Spooky. Why switch to remote method during the day? Okay, let's say you've done an overnight session. It's done on contact, it's done on plasma. You would then in the morning unplug it, plug your remote units and boost into your generator and run the remote equivalent on the same generator. It's just because pathogens have a doubling time. Okay, with yeast cells, it's 90 minutes. If you were to like really work hard at killing yeast all day long, and then you stopped, from the moment you stopped, the conditions are right, 90 minutes later, the number of leftover yeast cells will have doubled. So it's good to have something in place to try and keep their numbers down, so the next night you can come in and kill it more with more scalar and more contact with more plasma. Okay? That's important. Okay. So I'll just have a quick look to see if there's any more questions I can answer right now. What do you mean? This one here says no contact on terrain. You can do terrain by contact method. You can do it by plasma. Okay, there's different ways of doing it. I'm going to talk about the contact method shortly. We've only covered one interpretation of the protocol so far, which is plasma with 3 generators. Okay. What suggestions do you have for sleeping with the plasma safely? I've got mine tied to a picnic table right beside my bed. I used to use a resistance band stretched diagonally across my bed, and then with a few pieces of string, I then have the tube tied to that so it couldn't fall off the bed. And I have it tied to the resistance band with string to provide it with some distance so the heat of the tube would not melt the resistance band. You've got to work it out. Okay. Right, now we're going to have a look at running the same protocol with Scalar. Now the methods, it's just the same as far as timings are concerned. You run 3 generators in the same way because you're just using Scalar on your generator X. But you've also got 2 other generators, so you need more equipment to run it on Scalar, really. You need an extra XM generator. You can see the similarities here. You got Spooky Scalar treatments in the left-hand column. You got this kind of like middle column named generator 1, and you've got the remote equivalents. And then you got the remote equivalents again on generator 2, which is the 3rd generator in this particular case. But yeah, you can spread Scalar out and provide lots of people with energetic positives because the energy that comes out of Scalar, it's kind of like a warping great rugby ball, which gets bigger as you move the lids apart. And without a drop in power, really, I think so that's a good thing. Now, the reason I put the whole thing here up to preset 51 is because I just wanted to show you it's just the same. Okay, on the very top, you can see if there's an instruction to run all maintenance, R, on the 3rd generator called generator 2 in this particular case. And you can see the similarities. Co-infections A on Scalar is run at the same time as co-infections A on remote. Fungus and mold B is run at the same time on Scalar as its remote equivalent is run. Okay. Complex parasites G for Scalar is run at the same time as complex parasites G on remote. And it's for 2 nights or 2 days, depending upon how your life is organized. The first half of the protocol, using essentially 3 generators. The organisms phase is identical to the plasma plus when using Scalar. And likewise to the biotech phase and the Herxheimer helper and healing sets. So everything we've covered when talking about the 3 generator plasma is the same as the 3 generator Scalar. Okay? And this is the final part containing all the other sets. And it's just the same. To complete the entire protocol this way would be 156 days, being about 22 weeks and 2 days, or 5 months and 4 days. Now, running through it once will not cure you. Okay, it's a treatment, it's not a cure. If there were some particular frequency sets that were important to you, go back to them and redo them, or indeed start the whole program again from the beginning if you want. I've known some people do the entire protocol 6 times or more. Now we're going to talk about using 4 generators, which is the contact plus 4 method. So that's like the hardest with contact plus 4. Okay, the hardest killer you're using is contact. And everything else is remote. This is what you can do if you can afford 4 XM generators and the essential accessories, plus enough remotes to go with the generators. It requires 4 XM generators, last for about 230 days. So you've got 4 generators, and it's going on for 7 months and 18 days. Now this shows you straight out the plasma or scalar is quicker. Okay, are you with me? Plasma or scalar is quicker to go through all the organisms and all the biotech and all the terrain. But on the other hand, it saves you money because it's cheaper. It only requires XM Essential portable kits plus 3 XM remote kits and a USB bar, or 1 advanced kit, okay, which is designed for Morgellons, Lyme, cancer, and all that kind of cool stuff, like what we're talking about. Okay. Chat's going wild today. What's the gentlest way to run the protocol? Remote only. That is gentle. But also gentle means mild. And mild means, you know, how powerful will it kill? You know, it won't necessarily kill as powerfully. Could you use cold laser as part of it? Cold laser is targeted to very small locations on the body. Morgellons and Lyme is about tackling you from the tip of your head to your toes. Okay? Plasma is probably the best. Scalar is also good, but I mean, Scalar, if I'm really honest, Scalar I'm still trying to wrap my head around as to how it's affecting me. It does kill things, but it didn't get rid of my tapeworm, and I can't quite work out why. Because they actually grew back when I was doing hunt and kill with it. Scalar itself is just a very good healing modality anyway. So if you can just sit around the house in the scalar field, pure scalar, then that's just a good thing for you. All right, and to do that when you're not killing things off aggressively, that's something also worthwhile thinking about. Okay, so let's have a look at the timetable for the 4 generator XM method on contact. All right, with its terrain, the difference, as you can see here, is you got with the next set every 2 nights, but with the organisms and biotech phases every 3 nights. So the terrain period is about the same duration. But organism and biotech, which are the next and last 2 sections really, the main body of the protocol, that's every 3 nights. So you're not staying on the same frequency set for 2 nights, it's 3. So in this case, in the generator 1 column, you've got it labeled with a C, because that's your contact generator. Generator 2, it's labeled with an R, because that's remote. Generator 3, also remote. Generator 4, it's called All Maintenance R, and that's a remote thing which does some detoxification whilst you're doing all the killing. Okay? Does that make sense? And this is basically what it looks like up to preset number 51. Preset number 51 being the end of the organisms. It's quite simple. You got the generator on the left-hand side being your contact generator. Generator in the middle column, that's your first remote generator. The next column, that's your next remote generator. And finally, all maintenance are going on your fourth generator. This is actually quite simple, quite commonsensical. And again, you're running the same frequency sets. You're running the same chains on essentially each generator. Why are you doing that? To provide more punch. It's a double whammy. Instead of just having one frequency generator running something on remotes, you got two. Damn, bam. You know, go straight in there. It's therefore effective. And here we got the Biotech phase, the Morgellons Biotech phase of the same protocol. Again, looking remarkably similar. You're still running each frequency sets for 3 nights. You're still running 4 generators. One of them is still on all maintenance R. Just carry on. Treat it like a recipe. Select the ingredients for each day that you're doing the protocol in accordance with the recipe. 1 for each generator. You can even use your Google Calendar to notify you if you want to as to when you need to move to the next phase of the protocol. And if you got like a modern day mobile phone, cell phone, you can probably get your notifications from your Google Calendar delivered to your phone. So that becomes easier for you to organize and structure the process of Morgellons Lyme. Right. Now I'll have a quick look. The question here says, what if you can't set up the generators in your bedroom? Well, you find somewhere you can set them up. If you're running it off a laptop, you can put the laptop in another room for remote use. But you could have another laptop in your bedroom just for your contact use. I mean, you've got to find a way. I can't tell you how to organize your house. All right? Does the placement of the TENS pads on your body matter for each day of the terrain detox protocol using contact? Contact, you run with 1 TENS pad on the back of your right wrist and 1 on the outside of your left ankle. Okay? 1 TENS pad on the back of your right wrist, 1 on the outside of your left ankle, away from the bone, but it's right wrist, left ankle. One thing I will say, and this has actually come up earlier on, is like, how do you keep your TENS pads in place? I buy microporous tape from the chemist, and I put a whopping grade X over the TENS pad to hold it onto my skin. You know, sometimes I just like wrap it around if I have to. And I will also put another like cylinder of it around that part there where the needle connects. So it goes around there. That's why you can still see there's some whites there from where I put the microporous tape. So that makes it less likely that the needle will come out or the pad will come off. Okay, useful technique. Go to the chemist, get some microporous tape. It's not totally, it's not, you know, completely infallible. Okay, it can still fail. And what happens if the TENS pads come off at night? Well, you work out what, you know, how long you think you're being connected. I mean, if it only came off in the last 5 minutes of the night, then don't worry about it. Go on to the next night as normal. If you think you were turning around like a corkscrew in bed, and it may have come off like in the first few minutes or hours of you being in bed, then I would repeat that session again the following night. Okay, quite important to do. But let's talk about just using 2 generators. Why would you want to just use 2 generators? It's more affordable, okay? And you can still get somewhere with it. So it's not a big issue. This is contact plus 2. When we start to discuss contact plus 2, you can probably already see the advantage of having more generators, okay? There is an advantage to it, but you can still do contact on just 2 generators. It's nearly a year, but it is doable. All right, so, and some people, like, they struggle. I mean, I heard a story about one person who took his wife through Morgellons Lyme over 2 years and got pretty much complete remission as a result of scanning every day and doing, was it 1 generator or 2 generator method? Okay. And if you only want to achieve the parasite cleanse part, you can do that in 15 weeks, being about 3.5 months. Okay, the terrain. You've only got 2 generators, so it's easier, you know, it's less harsh on your eyes for you people in the studio audience, okay? So look at the chart, which is only about 2 generators. Left-hand one, the contact. Right-hand one, the remote. You switch your contact one onto the remote equivalent during the day when you're going about your business. So at night when you're in bed, you can go back onto contact. Does that make sense? Okay. That's just the terrain period. Now, one difference that you can already see is it's not run for 2 days, sorry, for 2 nights for each section. It's run for 4 nights. It's not run for 3 nights, it's run for 4 nights on contact plus 2. Why? You've got less power, you've got less killing power. You've only got 2 generators. You're not running on plasma. So you have to do it for more nights. But in the rest of the protocol, the second generator is only on all maintenance R, or detox maintenance from the terrain protocol, which is the one I often use myself. Okay? And the generator 1 just goes through each and every single set, you know, in order, in structure, one at a time, with 4 nights each. And this is what it looks like up to the 51st preset, whereby you would have achieved your parasite cleanse. And then after that, we then have the biotech phase, and this is what it looks like. When you're just on 1 generator doing contact during the day and contact during the night and remote during the day. Now, for those people who want to run their sessions during the day, then fine, you can do that if you want to. Then you run your remote at night. But you'd have to have a lifestyle and a life in general where you're not going to work. It's probably easier on the body, maybe, than other methods, but not as easy on the body as just a remote-only method. Always a good idea to set up your contact generator to be doing the remote version of the same set during the day when you're not directly receiving frequency treatment via contact, so you can still receive healing as you go about the day. Very important point. Okay. And now we're going to freak you up. Can you use the socks or gloves instead of TENS pads? Yes, of course you can. Easily. And if that's most comfortable for you, then go for it. As long as you're getting contact treatment. I mean, if you prefer to, for a whole 8 hours, use the hand cylinders, then you can do that too if you want. But who would want to sit there for 8 hours holding onto the hand cylinders when you got to, like, live your life? It's difficult, okay? I like the hand cylinders, but you know, I got to know when I want to use them and when I don't. Let's have a look and see what other questions and answers we've got. How often do you do a biofeedback scan? Once a week, twice a week. Some people do it every day, if you can fit it into your life. What would be a maximum number of frequencies that you could run at one time? I don't know. I think that there's like some people say there's a maximum number of like 8 remotes you can run at the same time for yourself. I don't know how accurate that is. Do we need to manually change every 3rd night? Yes, you do. You have to manually change it every 3rd night. Or 4th night, depending upon which particular protocol you're using. Okay? Okay, now we're gonna like woggle your mind a bit further, because we're talking about the remote method now, which is recommended for whole body disinfection, so which could be for you, and different users have different opinions on the effectiveness of remote. I've had great experiences when running the protocol purely by remote, but I've also had better experiences when going straight in with contact and plasma. It has its own unique challenge in the fact that it measures time not in terms of days, but in terms of hours. Fortunately, the amazing John White and all of his wonderful wizards have created a method in the settings tab which looks like this. And you can adjust it to your specification, taking into account what the protocol is saying for each generator you are running. Or alternatively, you could just be a bit more chavvy and time it on your phone, like I do. Because I like to keep things simple. Yes, there is something called the graded protocol, but we're not covering that today. And you can work it out yourself and extract the frequencies from the Morgellons and Lyme sets, and you can grade scan them and treat that as being the grade scan that you want to use anyway, if that's the method which you think is right for you at the time. I'm not judging, okay? I'm here merely to explain how this stuff works for you. Okay, so this can be run on 2 generators or 4. This is the remote method. There's method A for 2 or 4 generators, or method B, which is only for 4 generators. Method A takes the longest, whether you're using 2 or 4 generators. Method B is faster. This proves, unfortunately, that if you have more generators, namely at least 4, which could be 2 generator X, because each generator X contains 2 generators, or 1 generator X and 2 XM generators, or 4 XM generators, then you're more likely to have more healing power and you can do more faster. So get it all together, you know, get generators. It's going to be important. How long does method A take? All right. If you were to, and this is the important bit, okay, if you were to seamlessly move from one preset to the next to reach the 51st preset, which is just like the pathogen cleaning things, that's 10 months and 23 days. That's just the first half of the protocol. The entire complete protocol would be 16 months on method A. So that's why, you know, people might want to have 4 generators rather than just 2, if you're doing it via remote. So purely for speed and greater killing power and efficiency, I'm sure you can see that the more you get, the better. Let's get on to method B. How long would remote method B take? Again, if you were to seamlessly, so we're not talking about stopping to have a quick cup of tea or make a lunch or whatever, just seamlessly going from one preset to another, that would be 25 weeks, being 5 months and 23 days to complete the entire protocol. That's the entire protocol, okay? And a little over half that to achieve the parasite cleanse to reach for the 51st preset, roughly speaking. So method A is much slower, but it is thorough. Method B is faster, but might not hammer home the same results as powerfully if you want to just use the remote. Method B cannot be used on just 2 generators on remote alone. Okay. So this is where I have to explain to you stuff. You've got 2 columns highlighted in blue on this part of the explanation. So if you're only running 2 generators, you're running 1 generator on generator 1 and the other one on generator 4. That's for only 2 generators. If you're running all 4, you're doing as it says. You're running generator 1, then generator 2 starts 5 minutes after generator 1, generator 3 starts 5 minutes after generator 2, and generator 4 starts 5 minutes after generator 3. Again, use your clock. Okay? For the first 90 hours, remote preset 1. A lot. Second section is 92 hours, as it says on the left-hand side. Remote preset 2 on all 4 of them, or all 2. Next one, 130 hours, as it says on the left-hand side. Remote preset 3 on all of them, starting generator 2, 5 minutes after generator 1, generator 3, starting 5 minutes after generator 2, and then generator 4, starting 5 minutes after generator 3. So you're staggering it. I mean, I don't think you have to be too precise about your 5 minutes. Just try and get it as close as you can, because you're staggering it. You're hitting that frequency, then you're hitting it again, and you're hitting it again, and you're hitting it again, okay? Giving you more power. Okay, now let's have a look at the terrain method for method B. Very similar. But not quite. Generator 1, 2, and 3 is running the first preset, and 4 is running the first preset. Then in the second period, we've got the second preset, the third preset, and the fourth preset being run. Then, on the next time period, we've got the 5th preset, the 6th preset, the 7th presets, and finally, all maintenance are. So it's quicker. As you can see, less time is being used. More frequency sets are being used simultaneously with method B on 4 generators. Okay. So we can have a look at this and illustrate it by looking at the method A and the method B for roughly the same parts of the protocol. Higher up on the screen, I've got the method A version for 4 generators, or 2, if you were doing it that way. And at the bottom of the screen, I've got the method B for roughly the same period. Okay. On method B, you've got the immunomodulators, viruses A, viruses B, all maintenance, viruses C, viruses D, and viruses E being run during the same time period, roughly. Actually, it's a shorter time period as running viruses A, viruses B, and viruses C on method A. So this shows you how much faster the remote method B really is. It's like, by comparison, it's like lightning. But that's by comparison. Can't stress enough that returning time and time again to the PDF in the software, which you can see in my illustration there, says Morgellons Lyme version 3.0. And I've underlined where it is. It says Guide, MNL, Click Me, PDF. That's essentially which will provide you with the information. And it will fill you in on how to do the brine therapy and to assist in the destruction of some of the slime molds, and a few more little tips, which will help to make your progress through the MNL more powerful. Okay, in conclusion, the better equipment you have, the better job you can do. The Generator X is really a powerful tool which will help to speed up the process of getting your scans done, because scanning is a lengthy process on the XM, and putting them in the chain of sets to enable you to achieve the cleanse that you require. Contact is great. Plasma is better and faster and kills more. It's just good. Remote is great, but you probably get a lot more power using contact or plasma. So if you can get better equipment, do. If you haven't got better equipment, don't worry about it. Use the contact to generator method, the contact for generator method, okay? Scalar does work, but if you're serious about really killing things, you know, you've really got that desire to, like, sorry, you know, that yeast I want dead, that mold I want dead, those squirmy things I want gone, go for plasma. All right, this is probably one of the most important things I could say. Plasma is good, all right, because there's two different plasma things out there. There's Spooky Plasma and there's Spooky Central. Spooky Central will do everything that plasma does, but also has more things in it, namely the contact accessories, the ultrasonic, the ability to add the coil, okay, which can then increase the power of the plasma frequencies going through your body. Experience dictates that this is true. Use the remote always when you're not receiving your contact plasma sessions. And of course, overnight sessions are more convenient for real killing because you've got to still carry on living your life anyway. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, we got some more things in the Q&A. Will I make this PowerPoint available after the call? It is being recorded. So you can view it, the whole thing. And you can take notes and you can do screenshots and all that fun things. If I want plasma, what do I need to add to Generator X? If you just buy the plasma kit. You just buy Spooky Central. If you've already got Generator X, then you're fine. I often run my plasma off Generator X, and plasma is capable of generating, broadcast, or sending the frequencies that Generator X can generate. Okay, important positive vibration there. Okay, right, more things in chat. Okay, general question. When setting up your Spooky2 system, do you know if it is important to not have any generator or remote or sample digitizer covered by any kind of metal or metal cage or metal wire? I let mine roam free. I would rather not cover it up. I mean, these things have got like vents for heat. Okay, they've got vents for heat to go out. So you want to allow the air to circulate. The little blue ones have vents for heat to go out. So you don't want to cover it up with any metal. As far as putting it in a cage is concerned, I'm not quite sure why you'd want to bother. It's not like it's going to go anywhere. It's not going to attack you. Can you load the MNL protocol onto Generator X? Yeah, Generator X is ideal. If you've got Generator X, you can definitely do MNL, okay? But my point is, you may need more generators. So if you got Generator X, get a couple of XM remote kits to go along with it. Spooky2 Plasma is newer. Does it have any improvements over Central? It's still good, but it just doesn't do everything Central does. I only have Generator X. What would you recommend purchasing to add more generators? Just get 2 more XM remote kits. Can you cover the plasma tube overnight? I choose not to. Okay, it does go ping, it does flash. I don't want to cover it up. Okay. Well, what have I missed here? Yeah, I think that's more or less all the questions I've had. Okay. Can you put it under the bed? You would have to still make sure it can breathe. The plasma tube and phanetron bulb can get hot. They have to be able to breathe. So you might want to suspend it on like hooked wires or something, and just make sure there's something else to allow some cool airflow, whatever. Does it make any sense to order the straight plasma tube and phanetron? I've got both in case I want to do more diffuse work or more targeted work. Most of the stuff I do is on the straight tube, which is parallel to my body at night when I sleep, because that would just like bathe my body in stuff, and that's good. The plasma tube has to go through either the Spooky Central or the Spooky Plasma Unit. Okay? And you choose near field stuff if you're doing serious killing, and slightly further field if it's you still want to kill like crazy, but you don't necessarily want to have the thing too close to you when you're in bed. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. In general, I perceive Scalar is more of a tissue healer. You can incorporate Scalar into your methods, being mindful of the sets that you are doing at the time and the process you're making through the Morgellons and Lyme protocol. What equipment do I recommend? This is me talking now, okay? This is not information straight from Spooky2. This is just me. I'm saying ideally go for Spooky Plasma or Spooky Central. Get Generator X and a few more XM generators. 2 minimum, plus all the contacts and remote accessories and boost units. That will provide you with the ability to be flexible, okay? Because sometimes, let's say I'm going through it on plasma, and I need to desperately stop doing plasma because I'm struggling to sleep with it, then I might want to switch to doing it on the remote method or the contact method for a little while. You know, you're dedicating many months of your life to doing this protocol. You might need a break from contact or plasma or whatever. So if you have all the equipment, you've got choices on how you're going to do it. Okay? If you work from home, there's nothing wrong with getting another Generator X and setting up Scalar to give you Morgellons and Lyme Scalar during the working day. Okay, before you do your contact or plasma sessions overnight. So you can actually get the best of both worlds. All right, you can get your contact or plasma when you're in bed, and then downstairs when you're working at your computer, set up a Scalar there, and zoom, you know, just get that vibration going into you. I understood you could divide each generator into 2 generators, and therefore Generator X could be turned into 4 generators. Is that correct? For some remote protocols, that is correct, but you want to use the boosts for this, so I wouldn't do that myself personally. There may be someone else out there who's found a jiggery-pokery way of like playing around with the remotes and Generator X and has found a way of doing it, but I would question the quantity of power you're getting going through your generators, going through your remote units. So long as you stick to the sequence and the durations as specified for the delivery methods, you can't go wrong. So if you're doing plasma and it's for 2 nights, okay, for each set of chains, you then think to yourself, no, just for like a week or so, I want to go on to contact or remote. I then have to look at the part of the protocol which covers contact or remote and look at the duration for that, and I would then follow that part of the protocol. It is objectively true on the basis of experience that the Morgellons and Lyme protocol has successfully reduced my pathogen load. This is true. Returning to the Morgellons and Lyme protocol and repeating it can be generally a good thing to do. What some people would do if they're wealthy would be to perpetually do Morgellons and Lyme, maybe by remote, and then choose other methods of delivering frequency healing to themselves for other conditions as they arise. I don't know, gum disease or circulation problems, for more detox, whatever. One more thing. If a particular stage of the Morgellons and Lyme protocol elicits a response of one type or another, and I'm not telling you what that response will be, it might be worthwhile returning to it or spending longer on it. So let's say you've completed it, and let's say the preset number 47 was the one that really, really did things for you. Just do it. Don't worry about working up to it again. Just do it. Just go straight back to it and hit that preset. Remember, you are working on how to get your body healthier. Okay, this is self-healing, self-therapy. Okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a guy with a keyboard who's learned that using this stuff is beneficial for him. Okay, it's up to you to work out how you are responding to the protocol, how you're responding to each individual set. So I'm very analytical when I'm feeling my body and listening to what it's telling me. And to use the deductive reasoning to generate the progress you require on the basis of a direct experience with this technology. Okay, I'm not a completely beaming being of extraordinary, powerful health and well-being. My health and well-being is a hell of a lot better than it was when I started doing this. A hell of a lot better. And it's no joke, when I did like the antibiotic preset for a week on plasma, at the end of a week, this like massive load of toxic biological garbage just came out of my backside into the toilet bowl. Stuff which I didn't even know was there. You know what I mean? So I am healthier because that stuff is gone. And I'm carrying on working on myself, using this stuff, trying to work out what my body is telling me, what my disease is telling me, right? What my responses to various presets are telling me.